Alrighty, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is October the 29th. So, Wednesday today. Today's really the big day in the overall markets. We have FOMC later today at 2 p.m. And we also have a bunch of earnings as well, which is going to be in the after hours. As you can see, overall markets really solid push higher on Monday and Tuesday, as I mentioned on Monday, right? Don't try and short the markets, gap up into all-time highs. We're bullish. As you can see, markets so far kind of moving nicely Monday, Tuesday. Now coming to Wednesday. Today's going to be the big day. Uh, Sorry, let me just grab some water here with FOMC. Yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. What's up, everyone? Okay. Let me bring up the economic calendar. We'll talk about the potential kind of opportunities today. Most likely everything is going to be set up for FOMC. So I don't expect anything. I'm personally not going to take any trades pre-FOMC. Everything's going to be after FOMC and potentially tomorrow. But all right. First things first, as you can see here, coming into today, the main thing, as I mentioned, is going to be that FOMC news event, which is at 2 p.m. And then Jerome Powell starts speaking at 2:30. So you have your first initial reaction, which is probably going to be higher. And then depending on what Jerome Powell says, he's going to give us some guidance in the near future. But overall markets, as you can see, fairly bullish. As you can see, we're at all-time highs. Really solid push up on Monday. Another solid push up on Tuesday. And now we're at all-time highs. Another gap up as well. So I'm very cautious here now for alongside potentially, or you could be looking for your previous day high continuation. But at least coming to today, as I mentioned, you want to be very cautious just because we do have FOMC later. We've already had such a big move in the market, so we'll see how much FOMC is going to affect the markets, but it's a very big FOMC. All right. We also do have earnings as well. Meta after close, Microsoft after close, along with Google. So this is very big for the market here as well. And of course, tomorrow we have Amazon and Apple. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. So at least coming into today, as I mentioned, I'm not really interested in anything. If you have positions from a few days ago, look to sell them in today's strength, right? Either pre-FOMC or during FOMC, right? Look to take some profits towards the upside. Just because we've been moving up in a straight line, usually whenever you have big events like this, it usually means, right, we're going to have, right, some sort of retracement. So I wouldn't say it's a complete sell the news event, right? We're already pricing in rate cuts. We're pricing in a 0.25 basis point rate cut. So we'll see if the market, right, reacts to that. We're already expecting that. It is very bullish. So we are probably going to have a really big, nice initial pop towards the upside here, just based off of FOMC. Okay. As for the levels coming to market open, I'm going to quickly go over them. It's just going to be your previous day highs. Right, if we can maintain above your previous day highs coming to market open, we can see a potential move back up and towards your pre-market highs. If we can break above your pre-market highs, potential continuation. Really the best level, as I mentioned, previous day highs, which is your 634.50. If you go on to the SPY chart, similar thing. Previous day highs, 689. If we can maintain above your 689, we could see some continuation towards upside. If we break back underneath your 689, potentially can see a little bit of a mean reversion. As for some of my main watches coming into market open, a lot of these ones, as I mentioned, moving up nicely here with the overall markets. Apple, this one's actually kind of lagging behind. Overall market moving higher. Apple didn't do too much yesterday. Still fairly bullish based off Monday's price action. You like to see Apple really maintain above your 268, your Monday's highs, if you want to see any sort of continuation towards the upside. If you break underneath, you can see a little bit of a mean reversion, as I mentioned. Nvidia. Nvidia was one of our main watches yesterday, which is that 185, as you can see right here. We wanted to see that kind of push up in towards your all-time highs, which was your 195, and you can see really solid push towards the upside. So we had that nice solid push right into market open, and of course we had news later into this session, and we end up having that all-time highs push. If you look in the daily chart, very bullish here on Nvidia, right, invalidation of the head and shoulders, and you can see, right, nice push towards your all-time highs. Alrighty, at least coming into today, right, news yesterday, big push towards your all-time highs. Mark out your previous day highs here as well, right, which is going to be your 203. If you can get that 203 retest, that would be solid. It is very, right, you're up around 3% in the pre-market. I don't think it'll come back. It'll most likely will just end up gravitating higher, and you'll have to use your pre-market levels, but 203 is going to be your key level here on the higher time frames. As for AMD, another one, really solid pushes higher. Key levels that we have marked out. Monday's highs. Maintained above this key level here, which is your 259. Other levels that we're going to have marked out previous day highs here as well. For this hold above your 264 for continuation higher. Yeah, FOMC is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. As for Tesla, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be, right, just our old highs. As you can see, we have marked out key levels, Monday's highs. Now we have our previous day highs marked out. As long as you can maintain these higher lows, we can expect, right, continuation towards upside. Right, key levels I have on Tesla, really back up and towards your, right, 470, and then eventually your all-time highs. Another name, right, invalidation of this kind of head and shoulders, push higher. I like to see, right, break above 470, potential move back up and towards your all-time highs. Tesla, in my opinion, looks fairly bullish. Now, if you can get above, as I mentioned, 466, 470, and potentially your 479. So key level, as you can see here, 466. As for everything else, really, I'm just going to mark out levels today. They're going to be used later into the session, but at least coming to today, right off the bat, as I mentioned, you want to be most likely hands off. Pre-FOMC, we already had such a big move in the overall markets Monday, Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, the trade is going to come later into the session after 2 p.m., as I mentioned. Beforehand, potentially the market just might continue higher just because we've been in a solid trend. But today is a low probability, at least before FOMC. Okay. As for Meta, all right, let's go into a couple other tickers. Amazon actually looks really good, kind of bounced off this earnings low. Now it's going to push back higher. In the near future, Amazon looks like it's going to push back up and towards our all-time highs. As for Google, really solid push up as well. A little bit of rejection off your Monday's highs. All right, key level now is going to be the reclaim back above your 270. Right, Amazon, right, looks good above your 228 for continuation. Right, Meta kind of consolidating. So a lot of these names just kind of consolidating pre-FOMC or pre-earnings. Right, you really don't want to trade most of these names today just because we do have earnings, as I mentioned. So a lot of these names do have earnings. Right, if you look at Apple earnings on Thursday, along with Amazon, right, at least tonight you have Microsoft, Google, and Meta. So these names you don't want to touch. Right, you can look at the semiconductors since they're fairly bullish. Right, Nvidia, AMD, and Tesla. But besides that, you want to be hands off on all the other names. Okay, we got some water here. Good morning. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let's see. Your eating and drink is really annoying. Yeah, I'm definitely not eating. I'm drinking a lot of water because my throat's sore. Let's see. Yeah, at least for some other tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat. Probably go over them for the next 5-10 minutes. And then, as I mentioned, I'm just going to get ready for market open. And then go on a few other tickers here as well. When is it better to use the 5-minute open instead of the 1 minute? They're both good, both pretty aggressive. If you have an opening play, you can use the 1 minute. 5-minute is usually a safer option if you're outside the range. If you're inside the range, you can even use the 15. Do you trade on FOMC, or usually do you make sure to do something special because of the increased volatility? You can trade after, right? Before the move happens after, right? At least specifically today. Specifically today, overall markets, we're really not going to do too much pre-FOMC. We already had the move, right? Monday, Tuesday, I mentioned we're going to move higher. Wednesday, now this is the big day. If we maintain above your previous day highs, I expect bullish price action. But we're opening up above it. Really the position for continuation above your previous day highs, or the bounce off your previous day highs. Besides that, as I mentioned, I'll be a little bit more hands-off pre-FOMC. You could be looking for opportunity after FOMC because that's the major news event. All right, futures, went over some of those. Oracle, really not doing too much. I would be careful. Oracle, overall markets back at all-time highs. Oracle kind of consolidating around these lows. Had some news that kind of pushed it down a couple weeks ago. Now for Oracle, really just consolidating in between our key levels 292 along with this 276. So I'll be a little bit more cautious on this one. I'll be a little bit more hands off. SoFi, this one had earnings yesterday and we're holding key levels. Strong daily candle close above your 29. If you go back onto the lower time frames, where I was cautious, as I mentioned, I was like, it's most likely going to drop, but you can see dropped, bought right back up. Now the key level moving forward is your 30 key psych. As long as you can maintain your 30 key psych, you can expect continuation towards upside. NQ and ES, I thought I already went over these ones, but for NQ key level 22, this right here, previous day highs, 26,220. For the ES, key level is right 6943. EMD went over that one. Nokia, that one had a partnership with Nvidia yesterday. Let me take a look at gold. Gold, nice kind of pullback right down in towards the bottom of this order block. And now you can see we're basically holding kind of this key level of support here on the daily chart. But now for gold, at least on the daily chart, we had a bigger retracement right back down in towards this daily order block. Kind of tapped into this higher time frame order block here as well. Let me get rid of these ones. So for gold, the key levels that we have marked out this daily order block as well. So far for gold, now the key levels is just going to be this 40-40, right? If we reject off for 40-40, continuation down in towards, right, this 39.60. If we can reclaim back above, potentially where you can form maybe inverse head and shoulders. So key level in this case, as I mentioned, 40-40. If we maintain underneath, right, that's going to be your lower high for a short back towards the downside. If you can reclaim back above, then potentially we can see a reversal here in the overall markets. Let's see. Hi Jack, how many contracts do you usually take? And do you add into your losing positions? No, you never add into your losing positions. Contracts dependent is usually dollar amount, right? 100 contracts on Tesla is good. For today, let me go over a couple more tickers. There's really not too much to go over, right? Pre-FOMC. I'm marking out all these levels, but as I mentioned, it's not going to matter as much just because we're going to have news later to today with FOMC. Right, all the levels, I don't have too many levels marked out as well. It's just your previous day high since we are at all-time highs. So we're gonna have to base it off of really intraday price action, just your previous day levels. And then for targets towards the upside, you can use fibs and other things as well. But let's see. Yeah, let's go on to this. The main thing, as I mentioned, is just going to be that 2 p.m., right? 2 p.m. plus earnings later in the after hours, at least beforehand. Let me kind of just go over a couple more tickers. I guess we have a little bit more time. So if you guys do have any other charts, you guys can drop them in the chat. I think I went over most of those ones. Yeah, for our WDC, daily time frame looks really good. 1 hour kind of shaping up here as well. Right, kind of forming this flag pattern here on the daily chart. This one looks good for kind of that next leg towards the upside. At least for levels drawn out, really only levels that matter now are just going to be your all-time highs. You can just draw this out. Right, 136 here. If you can break above that, you can see a nice kind of continuation higher. Alrighty, couple more names, just like CRWV. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Yesterday, I think I ate something was stuck in my throat, or I'm not sure why. I'm coughing up a little bit, but I do sound a lot better. I do agree. CRWV. Yeah, kind of just consolidating. Consolidation more inside of this range that we have marked out. Multiple touches off your 152. Now we're just kind of back down in towards October 7th lows. So really not too much to talk about here. Key level 136. If you want to see continuation, we're kind of in equilibrium. You want to see a push higher. If you want to see a break lower, right underneath your 136. Okay. All right, I'm just going to go over my game plan once more coming into today, and then I'm just going to call it a day here. As for AMD, yeah, I already went over AMD. You can scroll back. I'll probably talk about it again here in a second. But coming into today, as I mentioned, previous day highs, I am personally, right, for me, I will be hands off until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's say if I did take a trade, it would be on half size, quarter size. And if it's on half size and quarter size, for me, it's not even worth it. I'm just going to wait for FOMC. But at least key levels coming to market open, previous day highs, rejection, you're going to see a potential move back down and towards your previous day close. If you can hold, potential move back towards upside. Right? Is this a trading opportunity? Maybe you could be looking for a pullback long pre-FOMC. In my opinion, on any other day, right, this would be a good opportunity. Today, right, if it came back down and towards your previous day highs, I would just expect it to consolidate here and probably not do too much before FOMC. Right, you got to think about it as well. Big push Monday, big push Tuesday. We've already had really solid days Monday, Tuesday. You don't want to be looking for an opportunity pre-FOMC Monday morning being really aggressive. So as I mentioned, right, we already had super solid days on Monday, Tuesday. We're going to be hands off pre-FOMC, which is before 2 p.m. After 2 p.m., anything can happen. There's going to be more opportunity with news, right? With the rate cuts, we'll see what happens and what shapes up after. As for some watches, right, you can keep an eye out on Apple, right? 269. Nvidia is like the only name where you would be open to playing a trade pre-FOMC, just because big pop yesterday towards all-time highs, gapping up here in the pre-market as well. So multiple factors. You had news yesterday, news again. Now you're at all-time highs. Nvidia is something you could be looking to trade pre-FOMC if you wanted to for a scalp, right? There's going to be probably either some sort of dip and rip for a push up and towards your pre-market highs, potentially maybe a gap fill reversal back down and towards your previous day highs. Or there's going to be some sort of opportunity on Nvidia just because of how volatile it is based off yesterday's price action. So if you're going to scalp anything or look for a potential day trade, Nvidia is your go-to. As for everything else, as for AMD, another one, previous day highs is going to be key. Rejection, come back down, break above, potential continuation higher. And then Tesla, key level on this one, 466, break above, continuation up and towards 470 and above. If it rejects, it's going to come all the way back down and towards your previous day close, 460. Yeah, that's honestly really about it. Not too much to say, as I mentioned, pre-FOMC, right? The move was Monday, Tuesday. Kind of nailed that. Mentioned, right? Don't short Monday, Tuesday. Market's most likely going to move higher, at least for today on Wednesday, right? Be cautious, as I mentioned. We're fairly overextended here. Maybe even drops pre-FOMC just based off this big move. But, right, if you're holding for Monday, Tuesday, take some profits today. Right, either pre-FOMC or during FOMC, right, take some profits. And then if you're looking for new positions, as I mentioned, just wait for after FOMC, preferably 2:30 once Jerome Powell starts speaking, and then there's going to be a more kind of clear direction in the overall markets. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. The main thing, as I mentioned, FOMC later today, and then we have a bunch of earnings. So pre-market's going to be fairly important tomorrow. I'm waiting for the market to digest this information today, plus the earnings. And then we also have earnings tomorrow, Apple and Amazon after hours as well. All right. Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, kind of quick, shorter pre-markets for this week, since my voice is a little bit short. So that's why. And then hopefully we'll get kind of back to normal starting next week. But yeah, it's going to be it for me today. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right. Take care, everyone.